Good evening, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. Now, I want to do this video today explaining to people that we don't just exist for nothing. You're not just living for nothing. There's a purpose that has to be common sense to you. Most things that are in existence, they were brought into existence for a purpose. So you can correlate this to the many things that we have, like televisions and cars. Even these fake things that are not truly living, even they were created for a purpose, the Creator's purpose. So whoever created the car, they had an agenda and a purpose. So it's the same with you. You're in existence. You be. So you have to grasp, life is a deep thing. Life is more deeper than the agendas and purposes of a man's individual creations. Life is way more deeper than a man making a car. The purposes that a man made a car for, the life is more deeper than that. And you are a part of that. So whatever you were created for, it has a deeper purpose. And the reason you exist in this state, in this harsh reality, is for a reason. And there's a lot that must be grasped before you die. You have so much time to grasp the simplest things. We tend to think life is deep, and this is because we confuse the many things that men create in the life. We mistake those things for the life, and this is what confuses a person to think that there's so much to grasp. There's not that much to grasp. All the history and ancient texts of men of the past, these things are not important to grasp. They're just a guide to show you where you're going if you don't. So it's truly a deep thing. Now, before I go in depth into this video, I want to say a few things. I was on Signetta's TV the other day. We did a one-on-one interview, and it was a nice bill. It was long. We did probably maybe 3 hours. So I hope he uploads the whole video so y'all can just vibe out. And it was a good bill. I feel like the brother Sinetta, he grasped. Now, of course, he's been into what he's been into. Like everyone. We have our beliefs, our faiths, things we follow. But I think he grasped what I'm saying, and it's a deep thing I want y'all to understand. When I say the things I say, it's more than just for learning, but it's a learning thing on both ends of the stick. So when I teach, not only do you learn, but I get to do an assessment of the individual. So it's a deep thing. When I say we're not supposed to eat, this is the reason why we're in hell, because we eat living life with no regards to its existence. All we care about is ourselves. And when I say this, many people will say, man, that's stupid. If we don't eat, we'll die. But the only reason they say this is because their whole thought processes of self-surviving, self-sustainment, and it's just an aspect of self. So when I say this, it's a deep thing because those that react in that way or rebuttal those words, it's a good assessment for them so that they can see just how much of their morality they lost. It's one thing to eat food, but it's a whole nother thing when you get to the point where you say that is okay. So it's a deep thing. I eat, but my morality is not gone to the point where I am not aware that that's living life and what I am doing is completely wrong, however you slice it. It's wrong when I eat. When you lose that, it's a deep thing. So Brother Sarnetta, he kind of gets that. He like, yeah, it is true, man, when we eat. It is life, and we're really not looking at it as life because it ain't us. It is a selfish act. And in him grasping that, it's a deep thing because it shows me he still has a sense of pureness within his spirit, where it's still receptive to light, which is truth. So he hears the truth and he can still receive it. Some men can't. They too lost in the self. They like, nah, if I admit that eating is wrong, then I admit I'm wrong. And it's just too much for them the morality. It's a deep thing. But nothing I teach is pseudo. Nothing I teach is wrong. It's just a matter of a person's morality and how much of it they still have. It's a deep thing. If you don't know what morality is, it's the principles of yourself. Seeing a thing unbiasedly. You know you're a living being and you don't want anything to steal your life away, eat you or kill you, for whatever purpose. Even if it's to sustain themselves, you like, well, let me live my life and you deal with your fate. Now, when you look out into the world, you see it biasly. You like, nah, that don't count. In reverse, the vegetation life is for me to eat. When you get to that point where you feel like life is for you to eat, then you have raised yourself to such a height that you have no morality. Anything that you're taught or anything that you see, you will see it through that non-morality that you have. The lack of morality you have, you will receive everything from that perspective. And it's truly a deep thing a lot of people have to grasp. Now, I also want to say this because the brother Sarnetta asked me if there were any other teachers that I would like to sit down and have a discussion with, the way I did with him, where he can question me. I don't want teachers to feel like if they sit down with me, it's going to be me attacking them and ripping apart their teachings. It's not about that. It's all on you, however you want the conversation to go. You can just question me on what I teach. It don't make me no never mind. But the whole thing is learning. People have to learn, and that's the main thing. But my point is this. He asked me if there were any other brothers that I would like to sit down with or meet or whatever. And I said, nah, he was fine. That's enough. That's cool with me. I don't want anyone to take that comment wrong now that I rethink on it. I don't want any of the other brothers to think that they're not important or something like that. That wasn't the reason why I said that. Any of the brothers that would like to sit down with me, it's cool with me. I'm cool with it. There's no one I would turn away and say, oh, no, you don't qualify. You got to learn too. So come on. Let's have a discussion. But any of the brothers that want to have a discussion, I'm cool with it. I don't view anyone as above the next or anyone not worthy of speaking. As long as you have good conduct and you don't be getting lost, I'm all for it. It's fine. Now, I don't know all of the teachers, but I'm going to name the few that I do know or am aware of. And if any of them, the brothers that I name, want to have a discussion with me, it's fine. I just want to name some other teachers that I'm aware of because I know people get lost and they think, oh, I'm into this high ego and I don't pay men any mind and they're useless. No, I learn from men. I just don't learn from what they say. I learn from the nature of things. That's the best way to learn, from the observation in the nature of a person. And it's deep, but I'm aware of Dr. Reggie, Brother Larry, Brother Jabari, Captain Tazariak. There's another Hebrew Israelite brother that I'm aware of. He's like my complexion. He got a gold tooth. He was at one of Sarnetta's debates when Tommy I forgot I always forget his name. But the Sotomoto dude, when he showed up to the event and got punched, well, when he first showed up, he ran into the Hebrew Israelite brother that I'm speaking of with the gold tooth. I'm aware of him. I like him. He funny to me. He cool. I like him. He gutted with it. I'm aware of Young Pharaoh, Brother Seti, Brother Sanchez. I'm aware of, I don't want to miss nobody because I'm aware of a lot of people. I'm aware of Eligio, Osei Kufor. I hope I said his name right. I'm aware of a few. I know I ain't completely oblivious to what's going on. Now, I don't watch all these people's videos. I'm going to be honest, I really don't indulge in watching the videos. If someone sends me one of their videos, then I'll check it out. But I learn from the life how I learn. But I'm aware of these people and their impact on the community. So if anyone wants to have a discussion, it doesn't always have to be a debate. We get lost into debates, and it could be a discussion. There's always something to learn. So any teachers I may have left out, because I'm aware of a lot, like Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't want to leave nobody out. Phil Valentine and some of the elder brothers that y'all know of. Y'all know I know Herman Smalls. I don't want to name people that y'all know I'm aware of, but I'm aware of a great deal. Red pill, blue pill, y'all know. Maybe I named some people y'all don't know. So y'all can go check them out. Like, I ain't with the everybody just watch me, and nah, it ain't about that. It's about everybody grasping. It's about everybody doing their thing, but teaching in truth, because we all got people listening and watching us. So that's the main thing. If people got truth, you can make better decisions. The life can become better with the sense of truth. So that's my whole thing with everything. A lot of the brothers, their teachings ain't completely accurate. And I don't want people to get lost into that thinking I'm attacking the brothers, because a lot of brothers are followers in their teaching. They're not the creators of their teaching. So if I attack someone's teaching or someone's movement, they have to always keep in mind that they didn't create it. So I'm not truly attacking them in any way. Whoever created the movement, let them be offended, but I'm not attacking them either. It's just a deep thing. Truth has to be spoken. I know a lot of hate comes with that. There will be people that hate me and say, man, he always this or that. But it just goes with teaching, man, especially when you're dealing with truth. Now, as we all know, up until this point, no one has came along that has been able to discredit anything I say. So at this point, we got to start taking more account of the things that I say and taking the things I say more serious. Because everyone has to learn. It doesn't matter how advanced you think you are or how unadvanced you think you are. You still have to learn. We all live in life. You have to grasp. We're working our lives away. We're paying to live. You're a living being. You don't have to pay to live. But the way we live now, we literally have to pay to live. You have to grasp. This is taken away from your point in your purpose. Because your purpose is not to be a slave of another person. Your purpose is to be one with the life. You're a living being. You need to be one with what you're a part of. So when I say I learn from life and I believe in the life is all within the life, as I was trying to break down on Sonetta TV, but I don't feel like going into all that. But the life is within the life. If you're a living being, you're just a small speck of that allness of life. So if you take all living beings in life, not just on earth, but in life, and you squash them together, that would be the all. We're all just one being, manifested separately to get separate aspects of the life. So it's a deep, simple thing. Everyone's supposed to be on their own path, getting their own relationship with the life. And it's a deep thing people have to grasp. We all have religions, we all have beliefs. Even the brothers that teach now, they came from a certain religion or belief, and now they're at the place they're at now in acquiring knowledge. And we have to keep pushing past all these manly influenced things. So religion is a man thing. It's influenced by men, gods, all these different things. History, science, math, all these things are man-made constructs of a man's observation of life. But what you want to do is get directly to the source. Everyone has to have their own relationship directly with the source, which is life, and learn directly from that source. So it's a deep thing. It's an interesting thing. A lot of people kept asking, what's the reference of my teachings? And if you see when I'm teaching, I use text. I'll use religious text, comedic science text. I'll use text. I'll use science. And then I'll use physical life. And I use all of these simultaneously when I'm teaching. Always. I always use some text. Any video you pull up, I'll use some kind of text in it. I'll use some kind of science in it. When I say use science, I mean science as we know it. I'll use that as a reference of what I'm speaking of. I'll use ancient texts of some sort or religious texts of some sort to correlate with what I'm saying so that you can use that as a reference. If you're not into religion, you can use the science as the reference. If you're not into neither and you can't read or nothing, but you could see, then I use life and I explain whatever I'm breaking down using life so you can grasp, however you learn. So when people ask, what's the reference, or where are the references on the things that I'm teaching, I give you references as I'm teaching it through every form of what we use as references. So we use ancient text and history books as references. I use those things while I'm teaching you. You can go back to whatever I was using to see if I was right. If I break it, like if I tell you, the life is within the life. Atoms are within atoms. Atoms are within cells. Cells are within organisms. Organisms are within the solar. And that's science. I'm telling you that the life is within the life. Worlds are within worlds. All worlds are bodies. Then I correlate it to science because I know you heard in science solar systems were in galaxies. There were a bunch of solar systems within galaxies, meaning one galaxy will have a bunch of solar systems within it, and you have a bunch of galaxies. One solar system will have a bunch of planets within it. So you get my drift? So I break everything down using many different references. But for some reason, people seem to still have trouble grasping. I don't know. I don't understand. But the more I go, the more I'll find different ways to reach people and help them grasp. Also, a lot of people believe that when I teach, I'm teaching against black people or something. And it's simple. Y'all just don't have, the more intellect that you have, the more you'll grasp what I'm saying. There's nothing I've said against black people. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Also, on the one-on-one interview, I just want to address this shortly. Sonetta asked a question that someone said that I learned from young Pharaoh. This was the dumbest thing I ever heard. Because me and young Pharaoh, I teach the sperm is the spirit. He teach the black woman is God. I learn from life. He learned from aliens. If you watch me and the brother's teachings, it's nothing the same in no aspect, way, shape, form, or fashion. He's more of like a comedic follower. His name's Young Pharaoh. I'm not a comedic follower. I understand comedic science. I understand Christianity. I understand Hinduism. I understand many different things, but I am not associated with no man-made thing. I am one with the life. So I am one with all these things, and I'm not just subjected to no one thing, but me and this brother, we have nothing in common in our teachings. I don't know how people cross that up. Like, it's a deep thing. Also, I want to say this in regards to him learning from aliens, because I'm not here to knock anything. If a person says they learn from aliens, fine. But I would just say this: men lie, women lie, aliens lie too. So you just got to know that aliens are living beings. So if you believe aliens teach you, aliens lie. Now, the point I brought up to Brother Young Pharaoh was for this, because I know y'all like to start little trouble. So I don't know if the person just said that being an asshole, trying to draw me into taking shots at Young Pharaoh, but there's no quarrel between me and Young Pharaoh or anything like that. I really don't know in depth what he's teaching y'all, like the point. Because a lot of brothers teach y'all things, but y'all never truly ask them, like, what is the point in totality of what you're teaching me? Like, what do I need to learn so that I can do what exactly? As far as life and death and just this existence, what's the point? Am I to be worshiping something? What? So that's my thing. Whatever a person's teaching, just need to know that. I'm not sure if he even got to that point where he knows exactly the point of what he's teaching, or if he does or not. But there's no quarrel between us. I don't know if a person was just throwing that out there so I could fight and get at the brother or something like that. But I'm not here to get at nobody. I got better things to do. So if that's what y'all waiting on, you don't have to wait for that. If anyone wants to have a discussion with me, or you're waiting to see me interact with a certain teacher, it's going to always be the same thing. It doesn't matter what teacher I'm talking to. It's always going to look like when I was having the discussion with Sanjetti. It's always going to look like that, where I'm teaching. It's really not a debate. If you watch me and Sanjetti's discussion, it wasn't a debate. I was really teaching him the whole time. He was like, oh, okay. He was really learning. If you really pay attention and watch his face, he was learning. But he was feeling insulted at the same time, so he was throwing little jabs, but he was actually learning. He was getting schooled right there and then, right before your eyes. And I was just teaching him. But it's the same with Herman Smalls when we was having a discussion. He was learning. He grasped. He just... Pride is a deep thing, but if you notice whoever I'm speaking to, it's never really a difference. It's always the same situation. Whatever questions I ask them, they can't answer. They're like Herman Smalls. He said nationality is a man-made construct. It's really not real. Then he turned around and said all he cared about is black people. And so I was just pointing out to him, like, see, you contradicting yourself. I was chopping Herman Smalls on a low up. Many different aspects. Y'all was missing all of it. I caught him on a contradiction he made where it's like undeniable. You contradicted yourself. I don't mean the nitpicking contradictions where it's like, I don't know if that's too stupid. Like, I mean pinpoint contradictions. Like, that's a pinpoint contradiction. So I would dissect them a lot of different ways, but not in debate form. It was really just a discussion. But a man has to not have pride and accept the truth. But if I'm debating one person, four people at once, whatever the case may be, it's always going to be the same. I know y'all be having in the back of y'all mind, Salah's going to come across one of these brothers and they going to get him. And that's not going to happen because there's nothing that I'm teaching y'all that doesn't correlate with everything that I'm saying. I always have the sperm in the foundation. There's a science to my method of how I learn. And it's structured. No one has real structure in a foundation when they're teaching. All the scholars and the other teachers, this is not to put them down or anything. I'm just giving you an assessment. No one has a true foundation and a real structure where everything correlates. Even the things other people say, I can teach my teachings through that because everything truly says the same thing. It's just a matter of you grasping it. When you're dealing with the life and you learn from the life, you can't go around it. Even the lie got to mimic the truth. So even fake stuff we have, they have to mimic the truth, the life. Even a TV and a plug in a socket, they have to mimic a penis and a vagina. The sperm and the egg cell, which is the electrical charge in the actual object that's being charged or powered up. So anything I teach you, it's coming from the life. So it don't matter what a person say, they're not never going to be able to do anything with you, but just get schooled and learn. And it's a deep thing. Brother's knowledge is like television. Mine's is like what the television derived from, which is the life, the source. When you plug a TV in, it's no different than a penis plugging into a vagina. It's nothing different than a sperm cell plugging itself into the egg cell, powering the egg cell up so that it develops into the fetus and then it's pushed out into the physical world that we live in. So it's a deep thing, but y'all have to get out of all this competition thing and wanting to see brothers get embarrassed or whatever the case may be, because that don't do nothing for you, truly. I'm talking about the followers and the students. You get nothing out of that. There's no purpose. You just got to know truth and understand things, and just know, the more you know, the more you can understand. So if something I say you don't really understand it, it's because you just don't know enough. You need to know more of whatever I'm breaking down. So if we having a discussion on albinos and the RH negative versus the RH positive factor in dominant genes and recessive genes and things like this, you have to know science. Efficient. You can't just know that you heard somebody say this and you have to know science for yourself, or just a little bit at least, so that you can grasp what I'm saying. So somebody that knows science, they probably listen to me and say, okay, I get what he's saying. He's right. What he's saying is right. It correlates with science the way we know it. It's right. Next person will say, oh, he's wrong, but they don't know nothing about science. So it's like you don't really qualify to even grasp. You have to put in the effort to know. Y'all think knowledge is just somebody telling you something and then you repeating that and saying, no, this is right because this brother said. Like, one man saying something and the next man saying something don't mean nothing. You gotta know. That way you can know which one is right. Other than that, you're just a follower guessing who's right and who's not, or being biased with who's right and who's not, and that does nothing for you. So it's a deep thing. I want to go ahead and end this video now, because I just wanted to discuss a few things with y'all. Nothing important today. Well, everything I speak is important, but nothing like, with any real need. But I do want to say this before I go, and this is very important, because the brother Sarnetta asked me, who was my master teacher, or who did I come under? in the knowledge. And I told him I learned from the life. That's my master teacher. And I'm starting to realize with a lot of people, not saying Sarnetta because he respected my answer, but other people, they think that master teachers and men override the life. If a person tells you their teacher is the life, you should not look stupid. Nothing overrides the life. You living in the life. A man ain't bigger than the life, so your master teacher ain't bigger than the life, which is my master teacher. I don't have a master teacher. I don't live by those words, but I learn from the life. If you learn from a master teacher, you just have to grasp that's a man, and he ain't got more reverence than the life. So we just have to grasp that. I know most people are not familiar with how to learn from the life, but you still have to respect the life and understand that if I learn from the life and you learn from a master teacher, then who I learn from is kind of more superior than who you learn from. The next thing we have to truly understand as grown men, you have to be a man on your own. You have to have your knowledge sufficient for self. We think naming master teachers makes us look good. So a brother could say, oh, my master teacher was Dr. Ben. This means nothing except that your name is not good enough. So you have to throw out a master teacher. You're a slave. You're a follower. I don't care if you're a top scholar, anything like Dr. Reggie. Dr. Reggie loves that question. Who did you teach under? Dr. Reggie has to grasp. He has to be his own man. His name has to be enough. If I ask a man, what do you know? I don't care who you taught under. That's them. Now, what do you know as an individual outside of what they taught you? Because that don't mean nothing. If a brother names a master teacher or somebody he came under that's a famous teacher, this only shows me that your name is not good enough. So you have to throw out extras to solidify yourself. If a brother asks me, who did I come under? The life. And I'm Solace. And I teach my own teachings. And that's good enough. That holds up on its own enough. If it didn't, no one would know who I am. I don't care if people pretend like I don't know what I'm talking about. We know everyone avoids me. Because we all know. I'm the sharpest. And it's a deep thing. But my name is good enough for myself. And other people need to learn how to do this. Master teacher don't mean nothing except that you a taught person. I want y'all to grasp. Polite has a master teacher. His name is Dr. Malachi York. Now, who's Dr. Malachi York's master teacher? Exactly. So how y'all not going to respect that I don't have one? But y'all respect that the master teachers don't have one. See, all the master teachers, the real master teachers, that the master teachers of today say they came under. So if you came under a master teacher, then you're truly not a master teacher. You're just a student of one. To be a master teacher is to say that you learn for self and you mastered the understandings of life or whatever you're teaching. And to master something, it has to be an aspect of you doing the thing, yourself, and getting an understanding. So most master teachers like Dr. Malachi York and the Dr. Benz and most of these guys, George Washington Carver, he's one of my favorite, but he's not a master teacher. He's not a part of all that type of stuff, that foolishness. But most of the great men, when you're dealing with intellect, They don't have a master teacher over them or someone who taught them. They are self-taught. And this has always been appreciated and respected in life. For some reason, this is not now. Now, I'm not saying any old bozo will just pop up and say, oh, I'm self-taught, and then start saying a whole bunch of mumbo-jumbo. But I mean, something authentic that holds some merit. So like the sperm is the spirit, the egg is the body. No one ever said this. This is my own teaching. But it holds merit. It correlates with science. It correlates with things written in ancient texts. So it's all a matter of a person getting the understanding, opening up, and grasping that this is a new teachings, but it's superior to the things that y'all know already because it's coming directly from the source, which is the life. It's not influenced by man in any way. It's straight from the life to my conscious, straight from my conscious spoken out in the words. Now from that point, if a man is learning from me and he teaches someone else, then you will get the altering because he's going to put it in his words and how he's grasping it from me. And this is because he's not learning directly from the light himself. But if you grasping directly from me, then you grasping pure truth, pure knowledge, untainted by the perspective of men, by the unbiasedness of men. It's just pure, untainted. And this is why it's hard for a lot of y'all to swallow. It's a deep thing. Pure things are strong. It's an acquired taste. You gotta build yourself up to digest it. And it's a deep thing. But I want to end this video, and hopefully everyone begins to pull for truth and understand that knowledge is going to come from self. Not on no tricky thing. I know you hear this a lot. Oh, you got to get knowledge from self, from within self. And what this truly means is you have to spend time with self. Remove all the influence of others. Most of the things y'all know is just what someone else said or wrote. It's their thoughts and their understandings. But you have to have your own understandings so that other things that you hear from others, their perspectives can make more sense to you, and you can have a sense of knowing for self, not relying on. Y'all rely on a Hebrew Israelite. He relies on the book or his faith, meaning his beliefs. But there's no sense of knowing. Mind you, there's a sense of knowing. If you have the words belief and faith, and you have the word knowing, then that means you have all those options. But the Hebrew Israelite, he will just settle for belief, faith, and dependency on the book, as opposed to being dependent on self and knowing. And most of y'all are in this manner. Y'all have y'all master teachers, and y'all have faith that they know what they talking about. Polite has faith that Dr. Malachi York knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't. It's a deep thing, and I'm not trying to knock him down in any way, but Dr. Malachi York is like Ancient Aliens. When Ancient Aliens first came out, Dr. York came out around that same time, and the same thing. I thought he was the ghetto Ancient Aliens show. Real talk. But it's a deep thing. Like, he's the alien dude. All the people that like talking about aliens now, Dr. York stuff. But Dr. York, aliens derived before Dr. York, so he's really like an ancient alien. He's like a Zachariah Sitchin follower. It's a deep thing. Even master teachers really be followers on the low. It's weird. No one's learning from the life directly. This is why everybody's information be all over the place. And you like, man, when I question them, then they be getting to points where they don't have an answer for me. That's why. I ain't never get to that point yet where a person asks me a question and I'm like, I don't know the answer. If it's somebody else teaching, like, I might not know the answer because they ain't my teaching. So if I'm breaking down to you what the ancient Kemetic people were saying, well, I didn't indulge into every, because I'm not like y'all. I'm not reading what other people say about the Medu Neter. I'm dissecting it myself. So every aspect of it, I'm just trying to help y'all understand what they saying. I don't need that to grasp life. Y'all are using these things to help y'all understand life. I already understand life, so I don't need them. But being as though I understand life and they discussing that, well, I have a better understanding of what they saying. So I just try to help y'all out with that. But if someone's questioning me, I never have no problem answering no question of anything I say. Even if it seems like a great question that I'm not going to be able to answer, I always answer it. If you've been following me for a while now, I'm sure you noticed that. Even the deep questions that you like, oh, he ain't going to answer that, I answer it. It be simple still. I still answer it simple like always. So it's a deep thing, man. We just got to grasp. When you're dealing with truth, man, you really don't have too much to worry about. I'm always confident when I'm having a discussion with whoever, and they always look outside of themselves, like a little bewildered. Because it's that nervousness, man. They know solace. I know I'm not the most popular teacher, but they all know me. I make them all nervous. And that's because they think I'm an asshole and I'm going to tear them down, but that's not going to happen. I'm going to just teach him. Sanjetti, I was a little bit rough with him because he got on my nerves. But that was only because he took mad long to answer the question. And not a question I asked him. Herman Smalls asked him a question, and he took like 10 minutes to answer it like other people wasn't standing there that needed to talk to. So I say he's just a disrespectful motherfucker. He's going to talk all the goddamn time like ain't nobody else standing there. So I said, fuck it. I think Sanjetti's younger than me. I'm not sure, but I've assumed he was younger. So I say young men always want to be assholes. So then that's why I did him like that. But I ain't do him dirty or nothing. Like, I schooled him. But it's a deep thing. It's your main man Solace, man. Y'all be groovy. Find peace. And through that peace, you'll find some understanding. Oh boy.